Hi, this is Tom. Welcome to my channel. I'd like to go through a web app that I developed with Gemini quite quickly, go through the steps. And it's on Carl Jung, about his theory of the archetypal types and of the psyche. Here we are, archetypal. All right. So Gemini did this app, and I'll show how it did in just a moment. I'm going to show the app real quickly here. So it's got the central thesis, and then explore the core of the psyche. So you click on one of these circles, and then it'll go into, it has three sections. And I'm sorry about the construction. Hopefully it's not too loud. So this is a pretty efficient way of showing quite a bit of information, because for each of these four circles, you've got three elements. So there's 12, actually more than 12, right? Because you can have a couple in the card. So pretty interesting idea to display quite a bit of information. And then here we've got cards for each of the archetypal types, each of the archetypes. There's like 16 of them here. And you click on a card, and then it pops up a mobile window describing the type. And that's pretty much it. So it's quite a bit of information. It's a good introduction to the topic. And I'll show how that was developed. So the first thing I did was to go to Notebook LM and use the prompt for discover sources. So there's a part in Notebook LM which has that. And let's see, when you first do it, there's a discover sources up in the upper right. And that's, here it is, right here, discover. So I started with discover sources and had Gemini outside of the app. I'll show this. I did this in this Gemini session. Come up with a prompt to get the sources, and then come up with a second prompt to get the report. And this is the report here that it's showing here. And then actually this is the prompt. All right, so please generate this document, and it specifies how it should be. And then this was the result of the document. So I grabbed this result, which you can see how long it is. So fairly long, but not overwhelmingly. And I put that back into Gemini. And then in Gemini, you can go to the canvas and then have it build an app. So let's see if I can find where that is. Let's see, let's go right here. So here is the prompt. Then, okay, so what I did was, so this is, I'm showing here what I got from Notebook LM, okay, and then I said, placeholder for canvas, please. And it didn't know what I meant, so I repeated it. I changed the wording slightly, placeholder in canvas. And I clicked on the canvas button when I did that, and then it understood, it created, it opened the canvas, and it said like placeholder. And so once I had that, I dropped in that document that I just showed you. And then I clicked on create a web page, create web page. And then it showed me the web page. And it looks like I don't have that option right now. I'd have to recreate it, it looks like. So I won't do that because I have it. This is basically it, what I was showing you. Okay, and all right. Then how about this one? Let's see what this one has. Okay, this one does have a previewable. All right. So this is what it came up with. Now, in the original version that it had a different color scheme. So I asked it to do a blue scheme instead. So I did that. So I only made two changes to it. That was one change. And then the other change was it had these nice buttons here, but didn't have any material for it. So I asked it for material, like if you clicked on it, and I said, what would be a good way of showing it? And it suggested this idea here, and I thought this was great. So I said, go for it. And had to try to add it a bit at a time, but I thought it might be too much material for it, so which it was. So it got, when it went through the second row, I don't know how clear this is, but it wasn't able to do these two. There's a kind of a little dollar. If you click on it, nothing happens. And so I thought, okay, so a little bit too much material there, but I could fill it in myself. So I found where that was in the code. So I just, you can look at the code. I copied and pasted it to my notepad, and then I just looked for the mentor to find out where that was. So this is in this section here in the code. It was easy to find. So here's all of the archetypes. And then it did some of these here. I wanted the whole thing, so I basically just asked it for this entire section. Um, so it gave that to me. And then when I did that, I didn't have the right number of braces here, which is an easy mistake to make. But I just gave it the section, and I said, do you see an error in it here? And it said, yes, it found it. So it told me I needed to add a brace. And then when I did that, it worked fine. So what I did was I put the code in Notepad, and I just saved it as youngtest.html, and I just put it in documents. And so this is a cool thing about these web apps that are developed for you, is that you can save them as a single file and call it whatever you want, .html. So I called it Young Test. Then you can double click on it and it'll bring it up in your local browser. And that's what it's doing now. That's what I was showing you. This is just a second one of what I was showing. And it works locally. You can take a look at it and just run it locally, and you've got a nice web app for yourself. And finally, I'm going to show, if you want to publish it, I'll show you the steps for that. So the steps for that are, I have a repository for this, and I can talk about setting this up in some other video, but the repository I have is called monorepo for self-contained web apps, which is a brilliant name for it. So monorepo means a single repo, which are repositories. So you can have separate repositories for your different web apps, or you can have a single repository and put multiple web apps in that. And that's how this one is set up. Monorepo works quite well for what are called SPAs, is the name for single page applications, where you have everything self-contained in a single web app. So that's what I have here, this monorepo right here. And then I created Jung, one for Jung. Where is that? Where is that hiding? it's hiding in alphabetical order, right? Jung archetypes. That's what I called it. And then this needs to be named index.html. So I copied Jung test into this folder and then renamed it index.html. And now it's ready to upload, which I'll show how to do that. So I'm going to navigate to where this is. So this is in the mono repo. And then from here, I'll do get status. And this should find what I just did, the Jung archetypes types. And then I'll do get add dot to add that file to track. And then get with a get commit with a message. I'll just say initial commit. And then get push. So this will push it to the server. And so this will push it to GitHub. So I'll go to GitHub and I'll look for this. So I'm going to look for my mono repository. And this is it here, self-contained HTML apps. And here is Jung archetypes. And you see it says now, right here. So you can see this was just added to the repository. So next I'm going to go to render to deploy it. So to do that, I'll do a new static site. And self-contained web apps is the one that I wanted. And it's named Jung archetypes. So I'm going to grab that name and copy it to render. So copy the name. So I'll use this name for this web app. And I'm going to use this. This is also the name of the folder that it's in. Here there's no build. So this just echo no build required. We'll just write that out as text. And then I'll deploy the static site. And if all works well, this should deploy quite quickly. So hopefully it will. Usually it does. Say about 90% of the time anyway. It'll do it quickly, and it looks like it is here. And it should just be a few more seconds. And then when it says your site is live, then I can click on the link. And here it is. So I'm going to include the link for the app in the description of the video in case you'd like to look through this and learn about Carl Jung's theory of the archetype. The main purpose of the video was just to show the process that how you can quickly build a web app. So everything is completely straightforward once you have the GitHub set up and render set up. And maybe I'll do a video on that time to go through that in detail. But once you have that set up, you can see how quick it is to do all of this. I'd say like an hour. You can have a really nice web app in about an hour's time. Well, thanks for watching, and until next time.